Hey guys, welcome back to MonAndU. Um, Thank you guys for the warm welcome in bringing a new channel on in starting this new journey. It's been thrilling and exciting, and all of those very positive feelings. I had the intention of going directly into the signs messages as I intend to do for this channel. However, on my own personal journaling, I've been navigating through understanding Venusian energy and the upcoming Venus retrograde. And today I was laying down and just kind of resting, and I just received all this guidance for doing a collective Venus message. So I'm going to give a little bit of the background here. Venus was last retrograde in July through September of 2023 in the sign of Leo. She does these retrogrades once every 18 months or so. And this retrograde begins March 1st, and it lasts 42 days through till April 12th. Now, 42 is a very powerful number. It's not just powerful in the sense of, mathematics, but symbolically, 42 is a very powerful number. If any of you guys have ever read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it talks about how the number 42 is it's essentially the answer to everything in the universe. It's the essence of life, and it connects with the symbol of the asterisk. And in that way, it is whatever you want it to be. So 42 is that creation of whatever you decide, the significance, the importance, the abundance, the power, the meaning. It's based upon our own personal decisions and what we do with the energy. And while there's a lot of different ways that this energy is going to play out on an individual basis, based off of our natal charts and the transits and all the interactions that are occurring, Venus going retrograde is a great time to really reevaluate what our values are, what we find value in, not just in our lives, but in the world, in our interactions, in our belief systems. And it comes also alongside what we view worth as, our self-worth, things that are worthy of our time, our energy, our resources, and how we view ourselves in terms of what we are worthy of in receptivity of all of these different areas as well. Venus is often associated, because of the mythological archetype, she's associated with love, but she goes so much deeper than that. In a lot of ways, the planet herself is a mirror reflection of Earth. The sun rises in the west and sets in the east versus Earth, where it rises in the east and sets in the west. And so she does this kind of oppositional thing, much the same as when we look in the mirror, we see a reversal of our image. And there are times where when we're looking and we're seeing something that is the reverse of what everyone else in the world sees, we see a different side of ourselves. And so it can be hard when the outside world sees us in a certain way, but we see ourselves in a different way. And that can go in a positive or a negative way. It really depends on our own personal interpretation. Now, a big factor of all of the energy going on right now has to do with power and control and free will and personal choice. When it comes to spirituality, much of our lives is dependent upon the choices that we make, the free will that we are given to come into this life. And we can look at the outside world and be like, well, I'm encumbered by the choices that this person or this entity or that entity are making, and they are determining for me what my life can be. And that is true to an extent. I won't negate that because I've been in that situation myself. And I know how frustrating and restricting that can be. But we also get to make the choice for how we interact, how we view certain things, how we learn. A primary role of my soul in coming to service in the world is to help you understand your own individual energy, your own individual power. I'm here to give you insight into areas that I'm called to, areas that I'm passionate about, but also into areas within yourself that I am being afforded the opportunity and the blessing to be able to see into. Each and every one of you, when you come to this channel, having opened up that energy, whether that is because you are choosing to interact with me, because the divine has led you here, and it is because that energy has been opened via some sort of spiritual connection, soul connection that we have. And on that, I think about Deborah Silverman, and I am taking one of her courses, but I also did her astrological immersion. And one of the most astounding things that she said during that is that each and every person that has signed up for her astrological immersion, and she mentioned, 20,000, 30,000 people, she said, my soul has a contract with each and every one of your souls. Your and my soul are here to work together to whatever extent it is that we are meant to. And for someone that well known in the world that interacts with so many people in the collective to say, yes, I have this soul contract with you on an individual basis, it gave me a sense of freedom to come back here, to restart, to essentially to rebuild from square one. I don't have the intention of building based off of what I've already done in any way, shape, or form beyond the fact that I already have experience filming and all of that. But I'm here just like you to start a new journey, and start this new journey knowing that each and every one of you who come to this channel come here because my soul has contracted with yours so that I can be of service to you. It is my deepest hope that through the messages here today, but in the channel as a whole, that these messages help you on your individual journey, help you to recognize how important you are to all of us. Each and every one of you are important to me, important to my soul, important to my own personal fulfillment. And I take that responsibility of interaction and fulfillment on my part very, I want to say seriously, but that actually comes with a lot of negative connotations these days. I take it as a point of high respect and honor, and I work with that with a high level of integrity and authenticity. And I pray that you all find that here. Now, as we move forward, I have these 5 placements. We're working with the Lumina Tarot today, as well as the Spirit de la Lune Oracle deck for each of the placements. And then I have the Dream Gate Oracle here so that we can just get some additional guidance for our inner journey, as most retrogrades are seen as a kind of weakening of the power, or as, this time to go internally and reflect. I also see retrogrades as this time of healing. In essence, I see retrograded planets as medicinal. The RX symbol in and of itself is tied to medicine and pharmaceuticals, but it was also tied to alchemy. And in the past, they used to use a mortar and a pestle, and they used to make each prescription on an individual basis designed for the person and for the ailment. And so I want to offer this as a viewpoint of this planet. This planet going retrograde, Venus going retrograde, is saying, let's put in all of these different ingredients that are available collectively. Take what resonates, put it into your mortar, and use that pestle and grind it up and allow it to be a medicine for you, for your soul, for your inner healing, for your inner journey, so that you may more confidently move forward in your soul's mission here on this world and in this time of chaos. So I'll go over these brief points with you guys. I'm going to just pop it up on the screen here for you. Okay. So that's what the placements are. So the first one is March 1st, and this is when Venus is going to be stationing retrograde. She is stationing retrograde at, I believe it was 10 degrees 50 minutes of Aries. And she will be moving retrograde, so backwards to the 0 degree of Aries, and then ingressing into Pisces and moving back to Pisces until April 12th. During this time, there are quite a few different transits that are impactful, but the ones that I was drawn to is looking at how this retrograde is going to impact eclipse season, which starts with the Virgo full moon in March, and how this is going to present itself as Venus moves out of the evening star phase into the morning star phase. So she does this transit. Every retrograde that Venus goes through is when she transits into the west waxing phase of the sky. So you can see her in the west sky, and she is the morning star. So she's the final light of the cosmos when the sun rises. And she is in the sky on the opposite side as the sunrise. And so she does this, and then midway through her transit, as she's getting prepared for the next retrograde season, she'll go back to the evening star. So we are moving on March 22nd. I apologize. March 22nd, she'll be moving to the morning star phase. And this transit or shift back and forth between those is why in ancient times, Venus has been considered to be the third luminary in our sky. So she is the light that we often forget, the light that tells us in the brightness of the morning that those planets, the stars, the cosmic energies are still with us, still working with us, and they will always be there as a beacon and a guide for us. So we'll be looking at the morning star phase as well. And then we're going to be looking at how Venus's retrograde is impacting Ostara, which is the spring equinox. It kicks off Aries season. And I can't remember definitively if it's March 19th or 20th this year. I would have to check the ephemeris and see when the sun definitively ingresses into Aries. If any of you guys want that, pop that down into the comments. I will put it on the community page for sure. But Ostara is when we rebalance the light and the dark. We're coming from the time in which darkness has had more time in our skies as the moon's energy has been predominant, and we're shifting into the time in which the sun begins to grow in length of the day in the time of our lives where it's the more impactful than the sun. And we're returning back to that state of planting seeds and nurturing the growth anew and moving through that summer season. So this balancing time with Venus being retrograde is important for us to be aware of how it's going to impact us. And then this final placement is for April 12th, when Venus will be stationing direct. And she'll station direct in Pisces and then move her way back through. And I believe it's sometime in May that she finally hits that 10 degree, 50 minute in Aries. and moves out of the post-shadow phase. So we are still in her energy of the retrograde prior and post for quite a while. I just didn't look back into the shadow phase of Pisces earlier, because it's the stationing energy that really stuck out to me the most with this transit. And the reason for that is whenever there's a stationary planet, and if any of you guys have a stationary planet or asteroid or anything like that in your natal chart, when you have something stationing, no matter how much credence traditional astrology gives it, my understanding through my studies and through my channeling work is that that stationing energy is a predominant force in your life. It comes above and beyond things that we think of as the most pertinent. The only challenge to that would be the rising sign as the soul's purpose in this life. And it would be as though that stationing planet is intended to be a core feature of the energy of your rising sign. So I encourage you guys all to check out your natal charts and to see, do you have stationing planets? Do you have stationing asteroids? Or maybe your nodes stationing? What are they stationing to, direct or retrograde? Even in that moment, it really determines how it plays out, because the stationing to retrograde is going to be this hyper amplified energy of a purposeful internal journey, versus stationing direct is going to be this hyper amplified lesson learned movement out kind of energy. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and timestamp each of the placements in case you guys want to skip any of it, if you want to come back or anything like that. I know this collective message is going to be a little bit more in depth, but I'm here for it, and I'm here for all of you. And I appreciate any time that you guys spend here, and I appreciate the contracts that our souls have made. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to start here. This is March 1st retrograde. This is Venus stationing retrograde. So when she stops in the sky, or appears to stop in the sky, Venus's energy is going to be hyper amplified at that 10 degree in Aries. That is the first decan ending, or the second decan beginning, depending on how you view it. But it is that transition phase, that transition degree of the sign of Aries. So she's going into a stationary transition to move back at a transition degree. So this is telling us that there's a lot changing. A lot is changing outside in the world. A lot is changing in our inner world. And Venus is here to ask us to learn to see things in a different way, to value things in a different way, to define worth in a different way, to see the beauty and the artistry that is the cosmic dance, and us choreographed right alongside all of those planets out there. So we have the Maiden of Cups, or the Page of Cups. And I love this. This is actually on the outside of the box. And often the Page of Cups is seen as I think of the Light Seers Tarot with the when pigs fly energy. This is the card of possibility, of potentiality. And so she's covering one of her eyes and only seeing through one lens. And she's got the Ouroboros behind her, which tells of the cycles, beginning and ending. And it's endless, always journey that we go through. There's always cycles and changes, but for every ending, there is always a new beginning. And sometimes we have a hard time seeing that because we limit the sight. So if we are in this energy collectively, the number one thing that I'm picking up from this is that we can see both the light and the shadow. We can see with both our eyes, or we can even see with just one. What eye she is actually seeing with in this card, I'm trying to get it to center on the card. There we go. She's actually using her right eye. So she wants you to see certain things about yourself and about your journey through the eyes of the divine masculine. Now, the divine masculine is that action oriented, but he is the creator, the creative. And he moves into the world. And if he isn't moving with an understanding of the receptivity and the guidance within ourselves of our own inner divine feminine, he's moving off kilter. And so this is asking us to redefine what we see our value in, our dreams, and taking that action outward. And so the moon phase, oh my God, you can't. Oh, I love this. It is the solar eclipse energy with threshold. And we've got the card number 14 here, which reduces down to a 5. So we're working with Sagittarius and Taurian energy a little bit with this solar eclipse. And that would be the Hierophant card as well as the Temperance card. So this is looking at how we traditionally see things and what changes we can make. Now, the solar eclipse is going to occur during Venus's retrograde phase. And again, I don't have the eclipse energy in front of me. I have it written down somewhere else. It wasn't about having all of that, prime energy down. This is about recognizing that during that solar eclipse, especially in the past when we had these solar eclipses, it was a point of fear. We were afraid. And when we look at a solar eclipse, we actually have to shield our eyes, because if we look directly at it with the intensity of the rays of the sun, it can actually burn the retina. So there are things that we are asked to look at that can be frightening, that we feel may burn us to the point of not being able to see properly anymore. Or perhaps we've been looking at something directly and we don't realize that we're not seeing it with the clarity that we would have if we took it a different viewpoint. So again, I'm brought to this maiden card. And when she stations retrograde, when Venus is stationing retrograde, our shadows are full in front of us. We're able to see our own shadows. So we're able to see our shadows, and we're able to see those dreams, those heart-centered wishes and dreams right there in the cup in front of us, and see that we have the opportunity to begin again. Just like I'm here doing that, we all have the opportunity to do that. Now, the solar eclipse, with it being threshold, this is saying that we are on this healing precipice. We can heal the ways that we have been viewing ourselves, that we think are just going to be stuck within us forever. We can view it differently. We can view ourselves differently. Again, we come back to free will. We come back to choice. So if you're viewing your dreams as impossible, can you see that that is a shadow, and allow for this time to be a threshold of revelation, to allow a darkness to pass in front of the light, to hyper amplify the fact that the light always shines through. It'll shine around it. It'll shine through it at times. It will shine alongside it. They're never separate from each other, these energies. And even though it may feel as though it's something to fear, it's truly just us upon that precipice. It's just like the Fool card, with the Fool on the edge asking, do you have the confidence to leap? Do you have the confidence to move forward into what destiny is calling you to, what your heart is calling you to, what your body and your soul and your energy is saying, I'm ready for this. As she sits, to our perception, sits in stillness and amplifies her energy towards us. We're on that threshold of change, of pigs flying, because we've said it's not possible, but suddenly impossible becomes possible. Suddenly, out of the realm of possibilities becomes the realm of any potentiality, because we are on that threshold and the light is still shining through. It cannot be blotted out. And so we can take action now if we view it through that lens. So now we're going to take a look at the retrograde through eclipse season, which I absolutely love the fact that we got the solar eclipse for that. right before that, because it is a lot like she's preparing us to move into these energies one by one by one and helping us as we navigate through it. So, oh, beautiful. Look at this. We have the 9 of Cups. We've got the sun and the moon, 2 essential factors to the eclipse energies. So we look at the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, and we look at what our dreams are. Again, possibility, potentiality. This eclipse season is saying, look at the full moon during that and look at how we have this ability to really, truly recognize everything that our lives could be. All of those dreams, what if they are possible to come true? What if all that sits between us and our dreams coming true is ourselves? What if it is about the value and the worth that you have within yourself? And if you could change that perspective and then move, take action on that, embody it, integrate it, and live that life of I am capable, I am who I am meant to be, I am making my dreams a reality, I am living my dream life. If you could do that and trust in the fact that this is something that is possible, not just possible, but absolutely doable. The universe aligns directly with you if you allow it. Does it mean there won't be challenges? Absolutely not. I'll never be the person that's like, oh yeah, everything's easy. No, guys, the world's chaotic. It is chaos and mayhem. I'm never going to negate that. I have gone through more crises in my life, in my personal life over the past 2 years than I have through my whole life. And I jokingly told my husband, like, when I started doing therapy for the first time in, a decade or so, I said, she had me fill out the things that led me to this. And I went down the list of the last year, and then I looked at it and I finished off with, if you read all of that, the problem is that almost every year is like this. Almost every year presents me with this and this and this and this and this crisis and that chaoticness and this tower falling and all of these things. And I've been doing this for so long that I'm worn out. And that's how I kicked off my therapy. So I'm no stranger to the struggle that is human existence. But I also know that I actively work at navigating through those times, relying on the divine, relying on my faith, relying on the wisdom of the cosmos, and relying on the fact that I believe that if we hold a dream within our hearts, that means that we are meant to see that dream come to fruition in this life. And the only reason we wouldn't is our own choices to not engage with it. So let's see the moon. We have the card number 8, and it says the blood moon with rebirth. Again, we have these energies that in the past were such intense focuses of fear. Even recently, I can't remember whether it was 2022, I think, or 2021, somewhere between 21 and 23, there was an abundance of blood moons, and there were doomsdayers, and especially religious doomsdayers out there saying, oh my gosh, this end of times, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is whenever we meet an end of time, we have a new time begin. Just as the Piscean age ends, the Aquarian age begins. And prior to that, the Aries age ended for the Piscean age to begin. And it continues forward just like that. There are ages of this world where we didn't exist, humanity didn't exist, but those ages still existed. Over and over and over again, we go through the death and the rebirth cycle. So as she is interacting in the heavens with that eclipse in our natal charts, how all of that energy is convalescing together for us is to help us realize that we are able to give birth to our dreams anew. We can renew our dreams. With this rebirth energy, it's saying we're the weavers. We can look to the past to see all of the different skills and tools and techniques and things that we have learned, the growths that we have had, and see nothing was ever a failure because you successfully continued moving forward in your life. You successfully continued to work at your life and yourself and your dreams. And now this energy is giving birth to something new. And with it being the blood moon and their bones surrounding this, I'm getting a powerful energy here. Oh, I see it's got crystals too. So I'm getting an energy here of utilizing clear quartz crystals, carnelian, however you want to pronounce it, bloodstone, dragon's bloodstone, but also looking towards ancestry. Now, I'm a big ancestry and genealogy person, but not all of us have access to that information. Not all of us have the fiscal means to engage with things like genealogy testing. And I understand that. But that doesn't mean that you can't sit down and say, spirit, guides, ancestors, please come and sit with me. Please commune with me. Please help me understand the wisdom in my very blood, in my very bones. Each and every one of us, we were born into this world through a joining of bloodlines. And I can tell you guys, in my own familial bloodlines, I have ties to ancient Vikings and Celts and back to the Salem witch trials, back through the European burnings, through so many different ages and phases and wars and atrocities that my family members were part of on either side. I have two bloodlines that came together from very different backgrounds, but still came together to form me. And I carry those wound patterns, but I also carry the wisdom from the lessons and the ability to move beyond those times through my own choices, to move in a different way, to honor what came before, and to respect the choices that caused harm through compassion, empathy, forgiveness, and to choose not to do that in this life. So as she works in this energy, there is this hope and this dream alive within each and every one of us. Whether we are aware of it or not, it sings in the very blood that flows through our veins. And she is asking, are you willing to engage in this energy and allow it to be born again within you? Allow it to be reborn. Give birth to that life that you wish to create. Become the weaver of your own destiny, the creator of your life. Bring those dreams into full fruition. Face boldly the differences. Bring that balance into it. So now we're going to move on to the morning star. I feel really strongly like she's trying to help us really, really, truly believe in ourselves through this energy. And I got to tell you guys, in my own personal spreads, I was breaking down some more of the minute transits during this time. And this was a collective energy I picked up even in my own personal readings, this collective energy of we can give this another try. We have the ability to do this. We really do. No matter how broken and beaten down we may feel at any given point in time, we have that ability to stand up and to say, I have more help than I realize. I am worthy of receiving help. I am confident and brave enough and courageous enough to say, I need help, even if it's just saying it aloud in an empty space where no one else but you will hear it. Giving yourself the opportunity to just say it the first time allows for your energy and your heart and your mind and your soul to really open that door. So we're going to look at now the morning star phase. This is when she reminds us of the light of the cosmos in the darkness, the fact that there is always a light during the day, and at night there's always a light that is there for us to see, that there is always hope. There is always something coming in the future that is brightness if we choose to see it. And therefore, we can walk through any darkness if we choose to, because we know that it will always be there for us. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, these cards are so beautiful, you guys. This is the card number 10, correlates to Jupiter, but we also have the moon phases here. I'm just letting it speak to me. There is a cosmic dance that always occurs right now with this, with her becoming the morning star. Even though it's the sun on the bottom, Jupiter is the planet of abundance. It's the biggest planet in the universe. One of the things that drew me to the astronomy aspect of Jupiter is the fact that it's known as like the vacuum cleaner in space, in our solar system, because it is so large and where it sits. It often is the planet that will determine the orbital pattern of certain outer space, like further out outer space objects, comets, asteroids, things like that. Jupiter will also incur a lot of impact to it in order to protect the inner universe. Now, see, this is me kind of mixing spirituality and science here, but this is an energy of saying, okay, the Wheel of Fortune is like the Wheel of Fate. It always spins. So what goes up must come down at any given point in time. What goes up must come down. But why does that mean that what crashes down cannot go up? We think about that in terms of gravity. But when you're working with the cosmos, they challenge that concept that we have of gravity. Because when we're floating in outer space, there is no gravity. So what if you could go up just for the mere fact that you've already crashed down, so you can still go up? What if you could see that every time it felt like life handed you this wham, bam, thank you, ma'am moment, that it was not because it was knocking you down a peg, but because it was a new phase of your fate, of your destiny, of your soul's journey, of your life journey. It was a new phase in which to understand what it means to rise, we must understand what it is to be at the bottom. And we're afforded this opportunity to learn over and over and over again. It doesn't always have to come with pain and anguish and struggle. It depends on how we engage with it. So, like I said, even though this has the sun down there, this is really, I'm getting more of Venus's energy there. So it's asking us to learn how to dance in a new way within our own light, to see that there is this ability to move beyond all of the limitations of the past, to expand beyond that. Finally expand. I wanted to say finally, I don't know why, but that word just wanted to come out. Finally, we can expand beyond things that occurred in the past, because we recognize that while tradition and ritual are beneficial and helpful, there is still evolution in all things, in all times. And so we take those traditions and those rituals and we evolve beyond them. We take those dreams and we evolve those dreams into something else. We take those moments of having gone up and then being knocked back down or falling back down or coming back down, however it presents to us, we see that as an opportunity to evolve so that the next time the wheel turns, we're doing something different while honoring what came before. We're integrating all of these different pieces. So during this morning star phase, now we can look at what came before. How have we been learning during these different retrograde phases? So if you want to go back, if you want to do a review, you can look at 2023, July 22nd through September 3rd. I know those dates definitively of 2023 and the energy of Leo. And you can go back even further than that. And it would have been it would be sometime in November through, I want to say the beginning of January, but possibly the end of December of 2021 into 2022 for Venus's retrograde prior to Leo. And that was in the sign of Capricorn. So that's where we're looking at these lessons coming forth and coming through. And with the moon phases here, what I'm really picking up from this is remembering that even though the moon is always cycling through different phases and different phases, and that energy is there as a changing energy all the time, that change is constant, consistent. And therefore, we can recognize that we may constantly and consistently change. But it's safe to do that because we are flowing with that nature. Now, Venus, Mercury both have those kind of same energies tied to them because they go through different phases and phases, just like the moon does. So this is asking us to kind of bridge these energies together and expand our understanding and awareness of the impact they can have on our lives, where we can go from there. When the wheel comes forward, we can choose to see it as a very lucky coincidence, a very lucky situation. We can see it as an opportunity to expand, even if we feel like through that expansion, we're going to have to be knocked down because we have to rebuild. That is what we're being asked of during this time. She's in the sky to tell us we have fate in our hands. We have destiny in our hands based off of our choices, based off of our free will. And she's there to remind us, no matter how much change comes, there is still consistency. And love is always going to be a constant. And we have the card number 5 with a waxing crescent, and it says play. And remember, we had the 14 here with the threshold. Now we have the 5 with a waxing crescent and play. I don't know about any of you, but before I forget, it also is correlated to air energy, and air energy can be in the mind. So this actually is beautifully perfect. So number 1, play. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life. I've been through a lot of hardship. And because of a lot of my astrological placements, there's this major issue that I've had with being able to relax, being able to be calm and have fun and play. And I was just journaling this shortly before I decided to take a break and rest because I felt that there was some sort of energetic change, which actually led me here. What I was journaling about was this recognition that the universe has been bringing different things into my awareness, drawing me into engaging in things that I normally wouldn't. Things like political awareness, awareness of the climate within the American governmental system and all of the different changes that are occurring, how the world is responding, the things that would impact me on a personal level, the things that are going to impact our long-term life, and how I view the world of my dreams and that which I am passing to my children and to my children's children and so on and so forth down through my descendants. And with all of that, I've also had the universe bringing me a lot of different pieces of comedic relief. I haven't laughed nearly as much in my entire life as I have over the past couple of months, just by engaging in silly things like funny dog and cat videos, or SNL bloopers where the cast members break and they just can't stop laughing because their laughter is infectious and it helps us to laugh, or watching these different comedians, addressing different issues or talking about different things out in the world and in their lives and everything like that. And you feel that connection to them, but then you're also able to look at life with a lot lighter of a nature and learn how to really enjoy yourself and have fun. When we're making our dreams come true, we can take it as a very serious business. Like I said, I come here with a high level of integrity. I understand the responsibility that I have as a channeler, but I also just love doing this. It is incredibly enjoyable for me. I have so much fun because I get to see how different things fall into place and how energies flow together. And I get to connect with people that I wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to connect to living in such a rural place. All of this is a way for me and my soul to join together and play in life. So when we're looking at expanding our awareness through these ups and downs, through the cycle of life, through the cycles and the changes of our emotions and of our awarenesses, through the times in which the seeds that we've sown in the fields that we tend have been reaped and now are laying dormant. And that dormancy can be very uncomfortable when we are in that phase. We can still enjoy ourselves. We can look at the past and say, hey, look at this time that I did this. Look at this time that I did that. Look at what I went through here and look at the fact that I overcame it. And even when you don't feel as though you overcame it, you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still living your life. And if you're here on this channel, you're still willingly engaging in help and community. And therefore, you are overcoming every single challenge that you've been faced with. So as she goes into the morning star phase, she's asking you to embrace play once more. Let your mind play rather than taking everything seriously. Take everything and make it comedic in whatever way you can, even if it's dark humor. Some people just have that natural proclivity towards dark humor, and it's okay to laugh. When you know that what you're doing is you're just making light of a heavy situation, it's not that you are denigrating it or dismissing it or diminishing it. What you're doing is you're saying, I recognize that this is part of the human experience and that there's something far greater out there. And we take this life so seriously. So I'm going to play. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh at my own seriousness so that I can alleviate my heart and my soul and my mind. And I can recognize that I have the capability of expanding through all the different phases of life. That's a really beautiful message. Holy crap. All right, let's take a look at how Venus's retrograde is going to flow through and what she's calling to us during Ostara. Again, this is the spring equinox. It kicks off Aries season, a new zodiacal year. And it is when light and darkness, the sun and the moon, have equal balance in the sky. This is when both night and day are 12 hours, even each. So we have the Six of Wands, the card of success. And what is the success here? It's a balance, a balancing of the energies. It's this beautiful melding of all of the elements, air, earth, fire, and water. Elements that wouldn't normally go together now can go together because we're learning how to harness all of these energies together. We're learning to recognize that we get to paint our life completely. As Venus's retrograde infuses Aries season with that energy, she's saying we can be all parts together. We can have that fiery passion. We can have that watery, intuitive, emotional energy. We can be grounded and dedicated and steadfast to our lives and to our paths and our souls and to this earth and what we're here to do. We can have that stability. We can have an eager, intuitive, intelligent mind. And we can blend all of this stuff together to create our success. And success is based upon what each and every one of us define it as. I'm someone that tends to have very high expectations of myself. And I have always struggled to see my successes as such because I continue to strive for more and more. I continue to feel as though there was more that I could do or more that I can do, and then to aim for that and to keep going. Even in times where lately, for instance, where I have had a massive withdrawal hermit phase, I view it as something for me to really work at myself, work at my self-worth, my self-value, work at the way that I view myself. Blending these energies together, success is what you make of it. Success is available to each and every one of us if we choose to accept it, if we choose to view ourselves that way. So let's see the moon energy here. We have the waxing crescent. Wait a second. Interesting. So we have an even bigger waxing crescent moon here. That caught me totally off guard. We have card number 7, waxing crescent, and it says expansion. And what we have here is, again, air energy. So this is the expanding of our mind. This 7 energy is that seeker energy, that driven for knowledge, driven for understanding, driven to know, to keep going, keep expanding. So as the moon continues through to the waxing crescent, moving ever closer to that first quarter moon with these 2 moons here, what it's showing us is that as we play more with our destiny and our fate and with the different ways that we view our life, and as we bring together all of the different elements of our life and we expand ourselves by having fun, by enjoying ourselves, by saying, you know what, it's okay. I can be serious, but I can also find the lighter side of life. I can be responsible while still laughing my way through life. Now we're expanding our understanding and awareness of ourselves. So in Ostara, when balance comes back, we're able to initiate an expansion of everything that came before, of that dream that we hold, that precipice of change and our engagement with it, of giving birth to the things that we have held in our hearts and our souls forever. When we choose to just start seeing that we get to play our way through life, we get to enjoy and embrace ourselves and our lives fully. Venus during Ostara is saying, let's expand how we bring all of these elements together, how we integrate them all internally, how we can be our best selves by our own personal view of who we are inside, of who you came here to be, of who you are capable of being, of who you truly are. It's about seeing yourself as beautifully unique as you are, as so important to this world. And also seeing that you're never alone, even in the times that you feel like it, because we're all connected. If you ever feel alone, you can always come to my channels, because in this energy, in this space, we come together as a soul family, as a community. We come together in union, in harmony, to expand. This energy for Ostara, as Ostara season, as we move through Ostara season, which begins at the beginning of Aries season, and then we move into Beltane on May 1st. So we have about a month and a half or so of Ostara energy, that's spring energy, that's rebalancing ourselves, welcoming light into our lives, thawing from the cold, harsh winter times. As we come into that, now we can expand, because you know what? We survived. You survived. You made it through, and now you can expand above and beyond what you once or believed yourself to be able to do, because you're shining so much brighter towards yourself. And in that western sky, Venus is saying, here I am. Here I am, reminding you, in light and in darkness, I am here, and I am here for you. Now is the time to really open ourselves up to the different ideas and inspirations flowing through. So let's dive into April 12th. And this is when Venus stills once more and turns direct. So she will once again be moving forward motion. So this is when the Earth and Venus have fully passed each other, and Venus will return to her forward transit. We have the world. And we've got Saturn energy here, card number 21. And this symbol of the moth, symbol of a lotus flower, symbol of the divine egg, the cosmic egg or cosmic womb. Saturn also is transiting through Pisces during this time. So this is saying, if you could have anything in your life, if you could go through a cycle, complete the cycle, and begin again, what would you do? We began this Venus retrograde upon the threshold with the Ouroboros, telling us every end has a beginning. We come to the end of her retrograde cycle, and we literally have the card of a completion, of an ending. But this completion is giving birth to a new form. It's coming back into the world and back to life anew. Moths, butterflies, when they become what they are, they go through that phase of caterpillar soup, that phase of breaking itself down in the safety of the cocoon, breaking itself down until it is nothing but liquid. And just as humans are in the womb and they gestate for 10 months, guys, it's 10 months. I've given birth 4 times, 40 weeks, 10 months. We have that duration of time, that gestational cycle, in which we are given physical form through water. We are surrounded by a form of water when we're in the womb. And so just like the caterpillar breaks down and it becomes this caterpillar soup, it is given a new physical form, and it has to come out of the cocoon. It rises up and it takes flight. It has wings now. It can expand its awareness from its base surroundings and its prior experience and its prior environment. It can now expand beyond that because it has the means to do so, because it went through that challenge of change, that challenge of breaking itself down to something that is completely unrecognizable, and it has risen again. Oftentimes in the spiritual community, you'll hear about the phoenix journey, where the phoenix rises up, and then it bursts into flames, falls to ashes, and then is reborn from that ash. But it's reborn as a phoenix over and over and over again. It is reborn as the same as what it was before. It's just at square one and has to do that journey again. That's the repetitious cycle of lessons and learning. When we don't fully learn. Now, if we're fully learning, and I'm not negating or downplaying the Phoenix journey, that's an important journey for us. That's the journey that either we go through because we haven't learned the lessons, or we go through because we are perfecting ourselves. We are becoming a more perfect version of ourselves over and over and over again, but we know that our true nature is this. So either way you view it, it's a powerful transition phase. It's a powerful change. When we're going through a caterpillar to butterfly phase, this isn't about the beauty of the butterfly. We're not looking at the, toxic positive nature. We're looking at what this journey means. That's what I'm picking up the strongest from this card, is saying the lotus rises out of the mud to be one of the most beautiful, potent, powerful flowers. One of the most well-known, enduring, impactful symbols spiritually in our lives. That's what the lotus does. The caterpillar turning into the moth, turning into the butterfly. It has to completely surrender to being reborn, completely surrender its form to be given a new form. It has to go from being this one thing, being this bug, essentially, and allow itself to be broken down and to go through the gestational cycle of being reformed, being formed into something completely different. But does that mean that as you emerge out of that, out of your cocoon, in whatever way it is presented in your life, as you're emerging out of your cocoon, does it mean that the purpose of the caterpillar has ended? In my opinion, no. But that depends on each and every one of us. Maybe the caterpillar's purpose was simply to get to the cocoon, to make the cocoon and to become the butterfly. That was the caterpillar's purpose. Now you're the butterfly. Now you're the moth. Now you have a new purpose. What is your new purpose? What is your new dream? Or did you go into this knowing that you have this dream, and then in order to see this dream to its fruition, you have to allow yourself all of these different changes and phases and understandings, and then embrace the fact that you are able to successfully accomplish this and rise up with that dream in your heart, with the form that is ready, willing, and capable of bringing that dream into the full physical form in your life, into a full manifested reality for you. That's what this world is. It's not just the ending of a phase, but it's the ending of a journey in which we have been transforming and we are emerging anew, as Venus asks us to look deeper into ourselves and see that we have more than we give ourselves credit for more often than not. And she is there to remind us that we have this beautiful abundance waiting for us. Yes. We have the card 34, waning crescent with rejuvenate. As things end, a new beginning starts, and we are moving from one moon to the exact opposite. We are allowing ourselves to rest in this new state, to reflect upon what came before, and to rejuvenate that dream deep inside your heart. This card is the card of earth. That means there's a physical rejuvenation of what you perceive and believe your life to be meant for, to be capable of having and holding and becoming. That consistency of change is promising you that if you engage in play, expand your life into this successful blending of energies, now you get to rejuvenate as you rise anew. Allow for a rest phase here. So April 12th is when this happens. If you can't Like, if it doesn't happen that exact day, what I'm picking up from this is there's this rejuvenation energy coming to all of us, saying we get to take a deep breath and say, okay, I went through this change. I embraced this change. I looked to the past. I looked to my internal. I held to my heart. I held to my soul, and I moved forward exactly as I was meant to. And now I am allowing for greater rejuvenation. This is again a 7 card. This is that spiritual seeker, that spiritual leader now, saying, I'm going to rejuvenate all the things that I have always known and take it into a new form, into a new concept with the same dream. And I'm going to see this dream to fruition. I have received that which I have needed to receive. And now I am ready to expand further. So let's get a few of the Dream Gate Oracle in order for us to kind of get a little bit of that inner guidance for this transformative change. So spirits, angels, ancestors, Venus, and all of our teachers in the cosmos, could we get as a collective guidance for moving forward? Thank you. In the back, I'm actually going to utilize the back first. We have the card Enchanted Forest. These cards are so beautiful, you guys. I love them. There we go. All right. It says nervous system support, deep breath, and grounding. I love that because we end with earth energy. And with Saturn, Saturn is very, very earth energy, Capricornian energy. But it also is the energy of recognizing that what we reap what we sow. That's the nature of karma, cause and effect. So we get this rejuvenation as the effect of us taking those deep breaths, of us grounding our energy and grounding our dreams into the physical. There's a lot of different techniques out there and a lot of different guidance on manifestation. But in reality, for me, you guys, manifestation, it comes about through faith and consistent action. Knowing that even if it looks impossible, it's only that way if we define it. So let's see what our inner guidance is. First, we have anchoring in. It says energy medicine, body temple, vibrational healing. So this is talking about seeing our physical form as the temple in which our soul is housed and allowing ourselves to truly feel safe within our physical bodies. I'm someone who has a lot of trauma in my past, as I've mentioned, but a lot of that trauma has to do with my physical form. And I have often struggled with feeling safe inside of my physical body. Piscean energy can manifest that way in our lives quite often. We don't feel safe to be ourselves. We don't feel safe inside of ourselves because at some point or another, someone has come against us because of something within our physical form. But when we learn to honor our souls, we learn to honor the body that we exist within. This also is talking about engaging in things like sound therapy and Reiki healing, meditation, working on the things that make you feel alive, that anchor you more fully into this reality, into this life, so that you have that beautiful blending of spiritual and physical. And that blending and balance exists within you, your body, your mind, your heart, and it expands outward vibrationally through your energy. So this is one way that Venus is saying you can really work on your own inner healing through these phases with this. And then we have animal kin, sweet familiars, messengers, and companions. I love this. I love this. I literally have my dogs. You guys can't see them. I can't even turn to let you see them. But I have my dogs kind of scattered throughout behind me. I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, but I also have yard animals that I love. We traditionally have a lot of like wild rabbits that run around in our yard, or we have a squirrel that literally will do this gesture when I'm talking to it. So I've named it the me squirrel. Um, the stories are hilarious, but it literally like I'll mention something to the squirrel and it'll be like, "What, me? You mean me?" And so we named it Me Squirrel. And it just kind of hangs out in the yard, randomly finds peanuts in the shell. I don't know how it does it. I don't have any idea how it does it. We don't eat shelled peanuts. I don't know where it comes from, but it's always in our yard with a shelled peanut. No idea. But animal familiars. This also is saying if you are not an animal person, as though, and I mean, like, if you don't have pets because it's not feasible, because it's just not, energetically what you're called to or anything like that, pay attention to the different birds, the different animals that you interact with during this time. Oftentimes, really unusual interactions will have me like pulling myself back and writing it down, but I see it as unusual where other people might not. So, for instance, the other day, I was sitting at my desk, and so I have an L-shaped desk. So there's actually part of my desk is over here, and I journal on that side of my desk. And there's a window right next to it. So it's like the desk is here and the window is right here. And I was journaling, and I just kind of leaned over and I looked out the window, and there was this, you know, wild tuxedo cat walking up our sidewalk, just very nonchalantly walking up the sidewalk. Um, and it really struck me because the tuxedo coloring really stuck out. But I stood up to look out my window to get a better glimpse at it, and the cat disappeared. I have no idea where this cat went. My daughter went outside about, I want to say like 2 minutes after I saw the cat the first time. She didn't say anything. She didn't see it at all. And she's not the type to be like, "Oh, there's a cat outside, I'm just going to ignore it." She would squeal. She would tell me, and then she'd start begging for us to take it in. Or she would run downstairs and get cat food from our cat dish to bring it out to the cat, because that's who we are. I would do the same thing, um, you know, at her age. And if it was warmer than, 20 below outside. But my point here is that after that, I sat, and as I was journaling, I was writing about having seen this cat, and I started doing a lot of research on it. And I didn't know that tuxedo cats are seen as some of the most clever felines ever, and that they are known to open their eyes. Babies are known to open their eyes well before other kittens of other varieties of cats are. In fact, most tuxedo cats open their eyes within the first 24 hours of being born. And that's incredibly unusual. So these specific types of cats that was walking up my sidewalk helped me to see myself in different perspectives and to understand that this cat came to tell me, "Hey, you have the ability to do this, to do that. This is what you're being asked to do right now." And it came just in a form of something that most people would be like, "Oh, hey, there's a wild cat out of my yard. I hope I don't have to call animal control," or something like that. When we decide to take note of these different things, we are actually going through a lot like this Six of Wands and the waxing crescent expansion energy. We're really seeing that the divine, the universe, our guides, the cosmos speak to us in so many different ways. And when it's something that piques our interest, that makes us go, okay. When it's something like that, just because, your significant other or your child or your best friend or your parents or, the neighbor down the street or whatever, just because those people wouldn't normally think of it in terms of a messenger from God or a messenger from the universe or from wherever, does not mean that if you feel that way, it isn't accurate and correct. You're the one who knows. So as this phase moves forward, even if it is an animal kin, maybe that it's just you start seeing the same number on the clock every single day, and suddenly you start paying attention to that number and what you're doing every day, what you're thinking during that. And then you start recognizing different patterns. And all it took was you looking at the clock and recognizing something repeating for you. It's a repetitive message to help you grow internally. Finally, we have the spiral of incarnation, past lives, soul blueprinting karmic patterns. I love that because I'm going to put it right on top of Saturn. And we talked about karma. We talked about soul contracts. I went through a phase in which I did a lot of past life regressions in order to kind of work through some of the things that I was struggling with, especially within the spiritual community. But I've also started to understand that as we go through all of these different phases in our lives, we essentially move into a new life. And therefore, what came before becomes a past life. And there's a number of different ways that we identify these different phases. One, for instance, is we can look at Saturn going through phases every 8 years, we have usually 2 Saturn returns in our lives, sometimes up to 3 Saturn returns in our lifespan. And each of those Saturn returns signifies a new phase. When we do a solar return on our birthday every year, we're going through a new phase. So we can look at the year before and be like, that was a past life. And those different phases and changes in our lives impact us as we move forward. But they also gift us with blessings and awarenesses and understandings. So another thing that you can look at is how this particular incarnation, whether you believe in past lives or not, look at this life as an incarnation. You're at an incarnation right now. Are you ready for a new one to begin? Has a new one already begun and you're working on that first wave forward of it? However it plays out, but seeing that we go through all of these phases and we don't go through life after life after life because we're bad and wrong, because we're being punished. We go through that because we're blessed with second chances and third chances and unlimited chances and opportunities to really come into ourselves, to really understand the nature of unconditional love, and to understand who we are on a soul level and who we are here to be, what we're here to learn. I can't answer the definitives and the specifics for any one person because we hold those within ourselves. We have tools and systems in the outside world to help us with that. For instance, astrology is a beautiful tool to help us with that. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that know, and we know it on an internal level. So Venus is saying, if you want to understand yourself, listen to the messages, listen to your body, listen to your heart, to your soul, listen to yourself, listen to the beating of your heart and the way the wind moves through the trees. Can you hear the similarities of those moments, of those two things? Can you see that everything in this world is helping you come more fully into yourself, become more of yourself, and really fulfill the life that you're here to live? You have these beautiful dreams, and you have destiny and fate in your hands by your own choices. You are capable of expanding, of enjoying yourself, of blending all these energies together and making magic for yourself. Support of your nervous system. Ground yourself into this reality, into your life. Take a deep breath and really breathe in that fresh air energy. We're kicking off spring as a season in the Northern Hemisphere or fall in the Southern Hemisphere. Either way, those are new beginning energies. If you choose to see it that way, everything is being afforded the opportunity to be rejuvenated through it and at the end. Standing upon the threshold of being reborn into this beautiful essence that you exist within in this world. And the number one thing that keeps coming through is everything will happen when you choose to engage in it, to take the action forward, to believe in yourself. And when you struggle with that, I am here to tell you, I believe in you. Your guides believe in you. Your ancestors believe in you. The divine believes in you. The universe believes in you. The cosmos, Venus believes in you. And this retrograde is a blessing for us collectively. A blessing of belief, of rebirth, a blessing of fulfillment. And it is a beautiful thing. Okay, guys, this is where I'm going to leave you. I am so glad that my voice didn't go completely out. I've been doing this kind of coughing and laryngitis thing on and off for about 3 days. So I'm going to go and rest my voice, get some hot tea or coffee, and kind of give my throat a break, get this edited and uploaded for you all. Thank you guys for coming here. I hope that you found anything and everything useful for your journey. Thank you to all of the energy. Thank you. All right, loves. If you enjoyed it, if you guys feel like keeping up with this channel, please feel free to subscribe, interact with this video. All of that stuff helps me get going. Not necessary, not expected. Just want to mention it. Okay, I am sending you guys my love, and I will see you at my next collective reading or the next science reading. Bye, guys.